Hey guys, Jishia here, back with another video. This time I bring to you the updated Concerto Performer guide. This guide was crafted from discussion and testing with multiple endgame CN Beat Performer players, so it is guaranteed to be reliable. If you enjoyed this video and or find it useful, do hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to get notified about future videos like these. I also stream on Twitch regularly, so follow to catch me live and ask any questions you might have about the game. Now without further ado, let's get right into the video. The written version of this guide is on Maxroll, link in the description, so do check it out and you can refer to it in the future if there are any changes made to the builds. I will update the guides very quickly to provide you guys up-to-date information, and I also welcome any suggestions to improve the builds or readability of it, so feel free to DM me on Discord. The Concerto spec is the more supportive spec, providing high value buffs to your whole team, perfect for players who want to enhance their teammates' combat capabilities while keeping them topped up. Starting off with the advanced attributes, the Concerto Performer prioritizes crit, followed by haste and then versatility. Crit boosts healing effectiveness and simplifies managing performance energy and passion. Haste improves cast speed and attack speed for smoother skill rotations. Versatility also increases healing intensity and damage reduction, and is multiplicative with the rest of the stats. Both Mastery and Luck are not needed for this spec as they provide very minimal upgrades. Mastery only reduces the consumption rate of performance energy, which is made trivial with sufficient crit. Luck has no synergies with Concerto Performer, so it is not useful. At level 40 gear, continue building for the same stat priorities. For my min-maxers, go for 40% crit, 30% haste, and 15% versatility. Any excess should go towards having a higher crit. These are the skills that you run. Your special attack changes to Healing Beat, and your ultimate changes to Concert Circuit due to a talent node. For expertise skills, we'll be running Passion Burst, Fivefold Crescendo, Encore, and Healing Melody. Skill book priority will be Healing Beat, followed by Fivefold Crescendo, then Healing Melody, Encore, Concert Circuit, Passion Burst, and lastly your basic attack. Here are what the skills do. Healing Beat consumes 3 performance passions to heal you and the lowest health ally. Concert Circuit heals allies and deals damage to enemies. For every enemy hit or ally healed, the damage or healing is increased by 6% up to 30%. Passion Burst unleashes a burst of flames forward, dealing damage to enemies and cleanses negative effects on allies. Negative effects do not include stun or frozen. This skill can be charged to increase the range and deal more damage. The upgraded version, Passion Burst Fervor, unleashes a barrage of flames, dealing consistent damage. Fivefold Crescendo consumes 3 performance passion to heal up to 10 allies 5 times. Encore grants up to 10 allies super armor when used. Each time you cast a damaging or healing expertise skill, there's a 50% chance to trigger an Encore string, dealing damage to the current target or restoring health to the friendly target with the lowest health. Healing Melody consumes 3 performance energy per second to heal up to 10 allies. This also summons a speaker that casts certain skills simultaneously. Healing Beat, Fivefold Crescendo, Rock the Stage, and Concert Circuit will be recast by the summoned speaker. Now let's take a look at the talents. Choosing Concerto will replace Amplified Beat with Healing Beat and enhances your Healing Melody to reduce the cooldown of Fivefold Crescendo and Passion Burst by 1 second every second. The first note we will look at is Stat Resonance. This is the main selling point of Concerto Performer. When Healing Melody is activated, it will provide Strength, Agility, or Intellect equal to 8% of your Intellect stat to your allies. This buff is not stackable with other Concerto Performers, but the highest buff value will take effect. This node makes Concerto Performers very sought after to clear high-end content like the later floors or Vault, where it is a DPS check to clear the boss within the time limit. However, 8% does sound very low. There will be more nodes down the talent tree that will upgrade this buff potential. For now, we need to focus on other talent nodes to help with resource management, which is your main priority. Brilliant Charge will help with generating performance passion, so you can activate Fivefold Crescendo and Healing Beat. Below this will be Crit Charge Rhythm, another node that will help with resource management. Whenever Fivefold Crescendo causes critical damage or healing, gain performance energy. The same goes for Healing Melody when it heals critically. This is why the crit stat is so important for Concerto Performer. Your early game resource management is very poor, and you will only start to feel comfortable at around 35% crit. Go for Sonic Verdict next to allow Fivefold Crescendo to deal damage when Healing Melody is active. This adds the Crit Charge Rhythm's effects. Crit Scale and Fiery Beat are next. Crit Skill increases crit rate by 10% against enemies above 50% HP and allies below 50% HP. Fiery Beat increases the crit rate and healing intensity of Healing Beat by 10%. These two nodes further contribute to managing your resource. With the 5 nodes above allocated, your resource management should be much easier to handle now. Now we take Passion Burst Fervor to unlock the enhanced version of Passion Burst. Beside your stamina bar, whenever you consume Performance Passion, a red counter will appear. When the counter reaches 10, it will reset and your Passion Burst evolves into Passion Burst Fervor. Casting Passion Burst Fervor does not affect your Passion Burst cooldown. Next, we take Stat Resonance Crit. Stat Resonance Crit doubles the buff effect provided by Healing Melody for 10 seconds after casting Passion Burst or Passion Burst Fervor. This means the current maximum buff we can provide at this stage is 16%. There will be another node that upgrades the effects of Stat Resonance further down the tree. For now, we move on to other nodes for more healing strength, which you'll find that you will need at this point. The node Concert Circuit will change your original ultimate to Concert Circuit. This skill has very big AoE, so do not worry about not being able to position properly with this skill. Take Crescendo Healing Chord to increase the healing intensity of Healing Melody by 35% over time. If you have followed the tree up to here so far, you will have spent 50 points in total and can move on to the bottom part of the tree. If not, you might have missed out on some of the intermediate nodes, so have a look and see which ones you might have missed out on. Now, we go for Tower Resonance to gain a permanent Encore effect. When you trigger Encore strings, your expertise skills reduce their cooldown by 1 second. Go for Harmonic Amplifier next to increase the damage and healing of skills triggered by the speaker by 30% to help with healing. Now, we can go for Stat Resonance Overload. This node boosts Healing Melody's buff value by 100% for 15 seconds after casting Encore. This still requires you to activate the Encore skills. It is not activated by the permanent Encore effect you get from Tower Resonance. Now, go for any node that amplifies Encore Strings effect. Encore Chain triggers Encore Strings an additional time when it is triggered. Critical Encore increases the trigger chance for Encore Strings by 1% for every 1% crit rate you have. And the other Encore Chain node causes any targets that have Encore to trigger Encore Strings whenever you use an expertise skill for 10 seconds after casting Encore. These 3 nodes will help immensely with triggering Encore Strings to reduce cooldowns of expertise skills. The rest of the nodes we take are to improve our healing. Take Double Recovery Note, Symphonic Aria, Vitality Unleash, and Crit Healing. Double Recovery Note causes Healing Beat to heal allies affected by Healing Melody an additional time. Symphonic Aria increases healing received for allies affected by Healing Melody. Vitality Unleash requires center stage, so it does not help this build. We only take Vitality Unleash to access Crit Healing. Crit Healing increases the value of Crit Healing by 25%. Moving on to gems. You'll want to use Ruby and Sapphire Abyss gems. Ruby Abyss gems grant crit and intellect, while Sapphire Abyss gems grant haste and intellect. Next, we have the recommended modules. Recommended modules are Life Wave, Life Condense, Healing Enhance, Healing Boost, Crit Focus, and Team Luck and Crit. Life Wave is a very good module that increases your highest advanced attribute by 10% for 5 seconds whenever there's a change in health. Life Condense increases healing intensity when above 50% HP. Healing Enhance and Healing Boost increases your expertise and special attack healing intensity respectively. Crit Focus increases crit healing. Team Luck and Crit is amazing to buff the team's luck and crit damage. However, Life Wave, Life Condense, and Team Luck and Crit can only appear on legendary modules, which are very rare to get, so it is not mandatory to go for those module nodes. For the Void Emblem, run Dark Corruption Backtrack, Void Engram Mystery, and Void Corruption Pulse. These are not as important, so you do not need to follow these 3 exactly. We also have gear sets that are obtainable from the 20-man raids. I recommend you to only craft these 4 specific pieces out of the 6 available pieces of gear. Craft the helmet, armor, gauntlet, and the left bracelet. These gear pieces will come with advanced attributes recommended by the game. In this case, it will give you crit and haste. The set effects are as follows. The 2 set effect increases the healing intensity of Healing Beat by 20%. The 4 set effect allows you to regenerate 2 performance energy every 3 seconds when Healing Melody is not active. Finally, let's take a look at the Imagines. For Epic Imagine options, we have the Infernal Goblin Mage to increase your intellect. For Legendary Imagine options, we have Venombazaar Incubator to apply vulnerability to enemies to increase the damage they take. Another option is Brigand Leader to grant an attack power increase to the whole team. NPC Imagine options are Tina and Irona. Tina accelerates the cooldown of skills for the whole team when activated. Irona revives up to 4 teammates when activated. For F2P players, I recommend going for 1 Epic and 1 Legendary Imagine. Go for Venombazaar Incubator or Brigand Leader and Infernal Goblin Mage. For spenders, you can consider adding Tina to that selection. Irona is only really used for very hard content and raids. So how do you play this spec? Your main advantage over the other 3 support specs is your buff, so you will have to be able to maintain the uptime of the maximum buff level as long as you can. To do this, you have to understand the cooldowns and uptimes of your abilities that activate and upgrade the buff value. Using the talent tree I went through previously, Healing Melody will provide 8% when activated. Passion Burst and Passion Burst Fervor will double this for 10 seconds, and only Passion Burst has a cooldown of 20 seconds. Using Passion Burst Fervor will not put Passion Burst on cooldown. Encore will also double the buff value for 15 seconds with a cooldown of 45 seconds. With cooldown reductions from the Concerto spec effect, your Passion Burst 20-second cooldown is essentially cut by half into 10 seconds. Furthermore, whenever Encore strings are triggered, it will reduce the cooldown of your expertise skills by 2 seconds each time it is triggered due to the talent node's effects of Tower Resonance and Encore Chain. So Passion Burst's cooldown will further reduce to at most 8 seconds if you have at least 40% crit to guarantee the triggering of Encore strings. Therefore, if done right, you will have 100% uptime on the 16% buff with just Passion Burst. Now let's factor in Encore. When it is casted, it will double the buff for 15 seconds. Concerto effect does not affect the cooldown of Encore, but expertise skills will. Encore strings will trigger when expertise skill is cast. This includes Encore itself. Overall, the effects of all nodes related to Encore strings will bring the cooldown of Encore to at most 30 seconds. So, this will allow you to keep a 50-50 split of 16% and 32% buff uptime. Rotation is simple. Activate your Imagines for their additional effects. Cast Healing Melody followed by Encore, then Passion Burst to activate the 32% buff. Use Fifle Crescendo on cooldown to trigger Encore strings, reduce the cooldown of Passion Burst and Encore, and restore performance energy. Weave in Healing Beat to consume Performance Passion, evolving Passion Burst into Passion Burst Fervor. Cast it when available to refresh the 10-second timer. Use both Passion Burst and Passion Burst Fervor off cooldown to trigger Encore strings. One tip here is to immediately cancel both Passion Burst and Passion Burst Fervor by pressing the skill button again to trigger the buff immediately. The buff only activates when the skill animation ends. Recast Encore when off cooldown or align it with your team's major DPS windows. Here's a full minute rotation as an example. That is all for the Concerto Performer. If you're interested in the Resonance Performer, click this video right here. See you next time, bye bye!